In order to create perspective in a drawing, it is necessary to first establish where the horizon line is going to be placed. The horizon line represents your eye level. The higher the horizon line, the higher you are positioned in the viewer space and have more of a bird's eye view or downshot on the space. The lower the horizon line, the lower you are positioned in the viewer space and have more of an upshot view of that space. That concept will become clearer as we go into this exercise. Once you know where you want to position your horizon line, you can position your vanishing point. The vanishing point is a point on the horizon towards which the lines parallel to the planes of one or several objects converge. The most common types of perspectives are 1, 2, and 3 vanishing point situations, but there can also be multiple point perspective situations. In this example, we're going to have a horizon line placed at medium-high level, creating a slight downshot view. In the case of a one-point perspective, the best is to place your vanishing point around the center of your horizon to limit the amount of distortion on objects furthest from that point on the outskirts of your image. For our first object, a cube, we need to establish a flat plane first. Once you have traced the base horizontal line of the square, the closest line to us, you know that this line represents one edge of the front vertical plane of the cube, and that all other edges of that plane are the same length. It allows you to create that front vertical plane. From there, it is fairly easy to create the other planes. For our second object, a cylinder, we start the same way we did with the cube, but this time we create crossing lines inside the bottom and top planes and create an ellipse in the center of both planes. We then connect the ellipses with lines. For the third object, a cone, we start the same way as for the cylinder and use the base plane to create an ellipse. Because we have already established the center of the first square plane, we have the center of the ellipse. We use that point to raise a straight line vertically as high as we want our cone to be. Then we simply connect the points. For the fourth object, a pyramid, we use the same starting step as the cube, and just like for the cone, we draw a vertical line from the center of that bottom plane to the height we want for the pyramid. Note how this pyramid stretches a little. As mentioned before, in a one-point perspective situation, the objects further away from the vanishing point tend to stretch and distort more. I add to those objects a simple sphere, but because the simple line drawing of a sphere is just a circle, the volume of that sphere will be made obvious only with lighting, a subject matter I will address on a different video related to lighting. Finally, as a last element in this group, I add a second cube behind the first one to show how the same lines of perspective are used to create space and depth between objects. For this example, I will lower the horizon line to establish a lower view angle. Using the same techniques I described previously, I will create objects with a little more complexity, starting with boxy shapes, then introducing indents and insets in their structure. Make sure you keep track of your rough lines to create all these insets, as the grid line construction can become quite busy, and it can make all these rough lines hard to read. This can be even truer if you include many ellipses and circles. Remember that the foundation of your objects is first their large block shapes, then you can add medium and small scale details. So my advice is, try to stay in the realm of boxy shapes and straight lines until you feel totally comfortable with them, before going to shapes incorporating ellipses and circles.